Looks like we got another 011 mini box opening. This time, airflow. Welcome to Simple Rud. First thing you may notice is some lighting changes, hopefully for the better. And no more little sign. Updated the new logo, which can't see because this box is huge. For starters, don't forget to subscribe. I not only have the 011 Air Mini, but I'm also going to compare it to the 011 Mini. And not to mention, I'll be doing a build in the Snow White 011 Mini coming up. And I've still got the keyboard build, solid state clone. I got a lot of content I'm working on for you guys, so I know it's rolling out slow, but I am working on it. So back to, our main exhibit, if you want, the Lian Li 011 Air Mini. So it is similar to the 011, and like I said, I'll be doing a video getting the two out and really comparing them. I guess we should probably get it out of the box and really just start reviewing it that way. So even the packaging is similar to that of the 011. You got your little spacer guide up there. You got your little box of accessories, which we can go ahead and take a quick peek at. So nothing too crazy. You do have an expansion slot, and then you have screws and zip ties. Now for getting the case out of this massive box. Now one thing to note right off the bat is just because mini is in the name does not mean this case is mini. It is a mid-sized tower, but it is still very large. Now, the first difference and the main thing on this one is the airflow in the front. Now that was also the holdup on getting this case. It was supposed to launch, I believe 2 months ago. But Lian Li really wanted to make sure the quality of this case was what they promised to the customer, which is awesome. You really can't ask for more from, a vendor. So with that, you still got very much the 011 look. It's a very sleek box. There are perforations on top and the front for airflow. Now, the one cool thing about the glass in these, those are way over torqued. That's when the iFixit comes in handy. Whew. Try not to stab the case. So these screws are captured, which is nice. So they won't come out. So it's pretty handy when, you have a tendency to lose screws. Now with that, this side will just slide right up and get that out. And the front just slides right up and out as well. Now the nice thing with this is you just have the perforations. Now you do have room if you wanted to put a secondary filter on there. Personally, I think that would be unnecessary, and you risk really choking out your PC anyways and cutting down on the airflow. And the main point of having this case is that extra airflow. Now another thing you find in this case when you open it is a lovely thank you card. And really the quality of the stuff is very nice, and just that little extra touch. Now they do have a manual. The one thing I really like about the 011 minis is just how much attention to detail Lian Li has put into these things. So when you go on their website, you get a pretty solid rundown of what you can fit and where you can fit it. Now with that, you're going to run into a couple things you might be disappointed with on this that was offered in the 011, and that is your lack of 360 radiator support. Now with that being said, you can still fit a lot of liquid cooling in this, but you also have to remember that this main function was airflow. It is dedicated to airflow. So if you want to throw on your Noctua NHD 15, this will be the best place to do it. Because you can put 120 fans, 3 on the bottom, 3 on the top. You can fit some back in here. And of course you've got these nice 140s and the 120 in the back. Which also sets this apart from the regular 011 Mini. That case did not come with any fans. So now what you'll see for these fans, which you may or may not like, is this extra bracket here for mounting the 140s on the front. These brackets are what eliminate the top and the bottom from fitting a 360. As you can see, there is a rather lip. It does stick out pretty solid. So you're not fitting your radiator because of that. Now, from what I can tell, those are removable. So for some reason, you bought this and you wanted to take these off, or if you just wanted to center one 140, you could still do your 360s on top and bottom with the, you know, a little bit of creativity on top of that. The one thing you're going to notice about this case too is just the absolute quality of it. Everything looks really good. Now you do run into thumb screws being loose or way overly tightened, which is, well, it's a little bit of quality control, but it's nothing major to where it actually affects the overall fit and finish of this case. So let's go ahead and take this back panel off too and really get an idea of what's going on behind the scenes. So this case does allow for fitting a full-size power supply, which is cool. You can also fit a decent amount of hard drives and solid states. So you can fit 4 hard drives, 2 up in this cage and 2 right here, and then you can add another 2 solid states, 1 here and 1 here, or you can just add 6 solid states, and none of that includes how many ever NVMe SSDs you can fit on your motherboard. So if you go full-size ATX, which this case will allow, you can get up to probably 9 SSDs, possibly more, depending on really how extreme you go with those NVMEs. Now, the reason I love the 011s is just how adaptable they are. And this case isn't any different. You do have the options for a full ATX, a micro ATX, and a mini ITX. Now with that, you can see a ton of thumb screws on the back. And as I mentioned before, you've got this bracket. I think I called it an expansion bracket, which 2 in a case kind of is, which will allow you to move this up or down. So if you're not going with the full ATX, you can drop it down to allow some more radiator space up above. Because one thing you can do is you can get a 280 on top and a 280 on bottom, which is a lot of radiator, and that gives you 6 140 fans. And I believe if you remove these brackets right there, you can put more 140s there. So just an idea of how simple this is, and these are all captured, which is really nice. These ones down here are not captured, so that bracket can come out. These little guys can slide out as well. Now these bottom ones come out so that you can buy a vertical bracket and run your vertical graphics card. So now with that, this should pop out of here, and maybe it's not so happy because I got the fan still in there. I was really hoping not to have to remove that, but okay, there we go. So you can take it out with the fan, and the fan also slides up and down to allow for your fans and your radiator adjustments on top too. So if you are going with 3 120 fans, you have the gap here to fix it, to fit it. Now this does just slide back in there the way it came out. It's really not liking that fan, but it still works. So I'll just pop this in there real quick just for an example. And then you have your top bracket that slides right in there. So with that, you go from 7 expansion slots to 5. Now this still will allow for a micro or a mini ITX. So Again, a lot of options with this case. The back has a little cover as well, also a thumb screw. And this allows for a hot swap setup for your hard drives. And I believe you just squeeze it, pull it out, switch out your hard drive, pop it back in. I'm not sure that that's going to be something people are going to use regularly. I guess it really depends on what you're doing. So if you want this to be able to test things and you want to swap out your hard drives, you just pull out, pop it back in, call it a day. Now, they really love their thumb screws, as you can find them pretty much everywhere on this case. Now, like I said, these pop out for the additional airflow. So you can add 2 140 fans, 2 120 fans, or if you're really going for your liquid cooling, you can add a radiator and some fans. Those are a little tricky. So they're in there solid, but they do just pop in and out, which now allows for airflow. I guess can't forget either, you've got your top connections too as well. So you do have a USB-C. You've only got one connection for your headset, so I do like when you have the microphone and the headset option. This one just has the headset and of course your power supply. So 2 USBs, a USB-C, headset, power supply. Power button. Man, I'm really slipping them up today. Power button. Now another nice thing with this as well is the way the cables are coming through at this angle. So what makes that nice is if you do get crazy and try and plop in an EATX. I don't know why you would want the case this small for EATX, but if you wanted to, I'm sure you could figure it out. But then the cables can go straight out and around to fit it. So the one thing that the 011 Mini had was an extra bracket to extend that out for your full size. There's just so much to this case that I feel like I'm probably still missing things. Like for instance, your filter on the bottom. Now the bottom does have larger perforations and quite a bit larger at that. So the filter is necessary on the bottom. And kind of tricky to get in and out of there. There we go, but you know, now you can easily pull it out of the side. So I would recommend this for something that you want to do, you know, more airflow focus. I do feel that if you're just doing airflow, you might be wasting some space, but it really depends on what you want to do. If you really want to keep everything cool through air and really load up on hard drives and solid states, this is going to be perfect. And not to mention, yes, it is big, but it's not huge. So you get a lot of options in a a reasonable sized footprint. With that being said, it is chunky. Now you do have kind of the sandwich layout with your power supply behind your motherboard, and that's what makes this thing so wide. But by allowing that extra width, you do eliminate the height. So your weight's a little more stable all at the bottom. So if you enjoyed this video, or if you have questions or concerns or anything, please comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. The channel is slowly growing, and I'm really working on bringing you guys the content that you're going to want to watch. With that, thank you.